Civilization 2 on the PlayStation 1. This is my favorite game of all time, but, and this is a notable point, this is not the version of the game you probably should be playing if you want to play Civilization 2. To be fair, this is a game that I did play prior to recording this video for about 4 or 5 hours, just to kind of get a feel for the interface. Because I want to sit here on a stream or in a video, fumbling around with the PlayStation 1 controller. I'm actually playing this on a PlayStation 3. So this is a PlayStation 1 disc being played on a fat PlayStation 3. I think it's a 60 gigabyte model. I don't even remember how big the hard drive is. I had to make cards, three virtual memory cards in order to save this game because every save takes up one entire memory card. So imagine playing this game on an original PS1 and having to juggle like 5 or 6 memory cards back in the day. Well, thankfully, I created 3 virtual memory cards here, and you can swap them. So if you want to put this card into slot 2, because I have a save memory card in a virtual slot 1, a memory card in virtual slot 2, which means I have 2 game saves I can make. If I need to swap out the third card, I can. We'll do that later, just for funsies. Because if you're gonna play this game, you might as well make use of the modern hardware, which in this case is PlayStation 3 era hardware, with all the hard drive space you could ever want. By the way, in case you're wondering, I tried. You cannot create a virtual PlayStation 2 memory card and save onto it. I'll show you what I mean later if we have to, but the point is that you make a virtual PlayStation 2 memory card. You cannot copy PlayStation 1 saves onto a PlayStation 2 card. You cannot copy virtual PS1 saves onto a virtual PS2 card here. If you have a real PlayStation 2, which I do have, yes, you can copy PlayStation 1 games onto a PlayStation 2. You can copy the PlayStation 1 saves anyway. I haven't done it in a while. I want to say I did back up some of my Star Ocean 2 game saves onto a PlayStation 2 card. Or if I did, I probably used a PlayStation 2 Dex drive, which is a USB stick that you can actually put onto a PlayStation 2 and big backups of your saves. Because I do have a Dex drive, for crying out loud. I have a freaking Dex drive where I was able to make copies of all my PlayStation 1 memory cards. Now, why would anyone else do that? Well, because back in the day, that's how I would make copies of my Star Ocean 2 game saves, my Final Fantasy Tactics game saves. I would download game saves for Star Ocean 2 and unlock the sound test, which is how I was able to record the music for Star Ocean 2. I was able to download a game save on I forget what it was. I think it was GameFAQs. Game FAQs, where they actually allowed people to upload Dex drive saves of PlayStation 1 games. So if you're able to dig out that stuff, I'm curious if that's still on the internet now. At least I'm curious if it's still on the GameFAQs website. That gives you the possibility of being able to play old video games with some useful game saves, with a bunch of stuff unlocked. Village only for the barbarians. Roving bands, where there's a smaller, half as often and smaller numbers. Restless tribes, which is normal, and there's no scoring penalty. And if you're feeling your oats, it's basically an endurance mode where you fight off raging hordes all the time. You know, Civilization 3. I will not be doing that for this video. Again, I'm not going to show you this map. I'm just showing you what the options are to create a world. These are the options that I use to create this particular world that I will be loading from a game save. Is Harriet Tubman in this game? No. In Civilization 2, there was a gender binary, and there was one male leader and one female leader for each civilization. Now, obviously, there were no female presidents and there were no female leaders in the United States. So for this particular game, we're going to be playing as the Americans, as their female leader, Eleanor Roosevelt, because they couldn't think of anyone else, I suppose. Again, in Civilization 7, which came out February of 2025, sure, we can play as Eleanor Roosevelt. It doesn't matter who the leader is. There are no buffs to your abilities based on who you choose. In Civilization 4 and Civilization 6, the civilization that you create has its own buffs. Like if you're the Chinese, you get a buff to building. If you're an Aztec, actually, no, you get a buff to wonders if you're Chinese. If you're Aztec, you get a buff to building, that kind of thing. I did medieval, so whatever. Those are your options. You got four options: bronze, classical, far eastern, pavilion, and medieval. And when you're done making choices, there is a recap that you're allowed to change. This is a quicker way to make your changes. So you don't have to go through all of the options prior. You don't have to go through each and every option the way we just did. So if I say no, the game will let me choose the size of the world. Again, I can make it a smaller world if I chose. I chose a large map just for funsies to see if I could stress out the PlayStation disc. If I'm being honest, if I say no, I can change the number of tribes. I can change the barbarian activity. So the idea is that I can change all of these settings. But the settings you saw were on a large map, and these are the options that I will use for this particular video. Yes. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the main menu and then save the game. Okay, so if we just say yes, we'll just... Can I back out of this whole thing? I wanted to back out of this whole thing. We'll see if it makes a difference. I'll see how long it takes to generate the world. So I'll show you how long it takes to generate the world, and then we will load a previous game save so we can play the game I meant to. I can play the game that I started playing before I recorded this video. The idea being that I want you to be able to see me get go through a familiar world without having to go through all the other nonsense of having to fumble around figuring out how to play this game. So it does take a while to load this game save, or it does take a while to generate the world, but it's manageable, so that's good. So we will not be playing this game save. You start with two. You start with two nomads, two settlers. You press the triangle button to show your map, which allows me to press the square button, go to the game menu, and then load one of my game saves. Which game save, you ask? Well, like I said, I can also assign a slot. If I had a third game save, I can put this in memory slot 2, and the game will pick it up right away. We're not going to do that. Here's what we will do. We'll pick our original game save and start from here, just to show you how I did things, and then I'll skip ahead to a later game save so I can show you the town that was founded automatically by stumbling across a goody hut. They're called goody huts in this game. They're basically treasure chests. So press the select button to get rid of that. Okay, so this just shows you the square you're currently on. We have a settler with no affiliation. I want to say there are two settlers and no affiliation. So I'll press the triangle button. We can see the map. Press triangle to get out of it. Now we have this little square right here that we can move around at will if you need to look around the map. Press the square button, and we can go to units, and you can always see the units that are available on the map. Your unit specifically. It also shows you what city they belong to. Obviously, they have no city. You can also see how many moves they can make. And there's an option to press the L1 or R1 buttons to switch units. We'll do that later. So just for funsies, we'll start by moving one of these settlers out to an isthmus that's located in the area. Once we get to that isthmus, we will build a city there and set up shop, like right around here. End the turn. So we can have one of our settlers build a road here, because we're going to be building a city right here between these two bodies of water. Actually, we could have built it back there. Let me check on something. Select. I want to say, which button do you press? Not triangle. Okay, so I'm here. So this, yeah, this is the, yeah, this is the piece that has the shield on it. So give me a second. Triangle. So how do I scope out this particular tile? This, if I press the circle button, I'm able to see what's here. There is a shield here. This is a grassland shield. So I can't look at it if there's a unit on it. That's weird. But there is a shield here. Again, if you are playing on PC, there would be tooltips. You could get rid of the units you reveal the map underneath these units. You can't do that here. Again, it's a console game. What are you trying to do here? Press L1 or R1 to switch units. Whoops, wrong button. Okay, fine. Why did the other guy do it? We're still trying to locate units anyway. So we'll build a new city in a second. I guess I screwed that up. Let's reload where we were. But I wanted to show you the isthmus that I have here. Because the idea is that if you build a city on an isthmus, it can become useful later if you want to build ships and have the ships pass through the city. So the quickest way to get around the map if you have a city built on an isthmus is that you can have a trireme or some other kind of ship pass through the city like Istanbul or Constantinople. You know what I mean? Okay, so yeah, so we don't have a shield here. All right, so we'll see if it makes a difference. Again, we're not going to be playing the game long enough for the type of grassland to make a difference. Again, some of these grassland pieces right here have a shield. Like the grassland space we are on has a shield. So you get one extra pip. I want to say you get one extra production shield on this pit. Just know that production shields are useful. So if you want to build on grassland, you want as much grassland with these little shield icons as you can. So the piece we have is a shield icon. Hold on, my laptop's falling over. Probably should have set that up more, put that in a more stable position before I started this video, huh? So you press left or right on the D-pad to move the arrow around. I want to say there's a cursor-driven system as well. We're not going to use it here. So now that all the pieces have moved, this menu comes up. We'll back out. There are some other game options I can show you. We're not going to turn them all off. Always wait at the end of turn sounds good because there's stuff we want to be able to do. Tutorial help, yeah, we'll turn that on. Turn off the diplomacy screen, turn off the town council, turn off the wonder videos. Cursor movement we're not doing. Don't change the background music. The game crashed on me when I tried changing the music, so we'll worry about that later. Map backgrounds, we're not going to change that yet. You can change your ruler's name, for instance. We can call her Harriet Tubman if we wish. We're not, but you can. So there is that. There's no period? Not that I'm complaining. Okay, so we can just call her Harriet Tubman if we want. That's going to matter, because like I said, it doesn't matter who the leader is. Done. Okay. Any other options here? Not really. We'll adjust the cursor movement later, because I want to make sense of how the game works right now. Press the square button. This menu comes back up. Kingdom. You can look at your tax rate. We'll do all that later. Advisors, we'll worry about that later. At some point, you're going to want to. At some point, you're actually going to want to build a city. Demographics, we'll worry about that later. Units, they've already moved. So we don't want to. You could build a city here because there is an isthmus right here. But this grassland piece does not have a shield on it, so you're only getting 2 pips of food out of it. No shield from this particular grassland square, etc. and so forth. So we'll end the turn. So you could build an isthmus here, but again, we want to build a city on a grassland square with a shield on it. Press triangle, triangle again, cursor is up, press the circle button, and we get more information on this unoccupied tile. And this particular type of grassland has a shield on it. So that's why we want to build our city here, because we're going to get more productivity. You get, basically, when you build your city, the square that your city is built on gives you a little bit more productivity, which is why you want a shield on it. I want to say you also get an extra pip of food. I forget exactly how that works. Units. Okay, so we have one more dude who can move. So we can end the turn. And they say, yeah, build a city here. We're not going to build it here. We're going to build a road here, and then we're going to build the isthmus right here. Square. So we're going to build a road. Then we're going to build the city tile right there. So again, building the city tile between these 2 bodies of water is how you get your isthmus. That's how you get, and that's how you basically make a canal city between 2 bodies of water. So what do we need? No, we're fine. End the turn. So we can build a city here. Square. Build a new city. Call it whatever you want. We're going to call it Washington. We're going to change the name later, because I always name my capital city Cap, so I can always find it on a map. And then I change my cities' names based on how close they are to where my capital city is. If you have a bunch of cities on different continents, ideally you would change their names so it's easier to locate them in a hurry. We'll do that later, just not now. There's a bunch of stuff I learned over the decades, and I'll tell you what I know. We are not cheating here. We can't do things like black clicking. I'll explain what that is when I play the PC version of that game. Sure, cities can build additional sets, etc., and so forth. Only one item can be in production per city, of course. Production orders can be changed at any time. Ideally, you want to change production orders quickly if you have to change them at all. Because if you change production orders to a different type of unit, there is a production penalty. For instance, you can switch between soldiers and ships, and there's no penalty for that. But if you switch between soldiers and buildings, there's a 50% production penalty if you switch types. We'll explain that later. Let's see. So what do we build first? Well, we already know what we're doing, so we don't need to build things like barracks. I never built barracks. If anything, I would build a warrior just so you can have a soldier that can wander the map and unlock new stuff. There are 2 goody huts that we can. There are 2 continents we can reach, because we're basically in Tierra del Fuego. We're at the bottom of the map. We're the far southern portion of the map, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. So we'll go to the city tile right here. In fact, let me show you how I got here, because this is going to be kind of annoying when you first start playing the game. Triangle, triangle, press square, go to the city menu right here. Now you can select the city from this menu. You have to go 5 or 6 button presses deep. It's a PC game. They had to make a bunch of concessions here. So you can change the unit you want to create here. Again, we're building a warrior. There will be shields below the warrior icon on the left side of the screen once production continues. The number of shields your city generates determines how many turns it takes to complete a soldier. For instance, this unit takes at least, 50 shields, I think. I forget how many shields it takes, but the point is that the number of shields your city produces determines how long it takes to actually build the unit. Can we see that? Yeah, we have no money. So we can't buy it because we have no cash. We can't see how many, we can't see how many shields we have. Again, the PC version, you can always see there it is. So under resource, we can see how many shields we produce. At the bottom of the screen, it says 3 shields. You can also see, yeah, the surplus. So the idea is how many, we use those shields to build new units. So in this case, we're creating what, 3 shields per, yeah, there it says right there on the map. So it says right here, we have 3 shields. So underneath the city's name, Washington. The icon below that is the food. That's the amount of food we're generating in this city. To the right of that is the number of production shields we're generating per turn in this city. And next to that are the arrows showing trade on the right. So 4 food, 3 shield, 3 food, or 3 trade, excuse me. Trade is used for taxes and for scientific research. We'll break that down a bit later. So I pressed X on that cursor to open up the city. So we know this unit's going to take at least 4 units. It's going to take at least 4 turns to make. Fine. So we're building it. I forget exactly how this works. I know that a city is allowed to support a designated number of units. Once you exceed that threshold of support of free unit support, then it costs money to support them, which means I think it costs production shields every turn if you exceed the number of units available in your city, something like that. We'll go into more detail about that as it becomes an issue. But for now, the first 2 units we build in the city are free. Again, I'm building a soldier so that we can wander the map and explore some more. And we can also uncover new cities. We can uncover new civilization advances, new technologies. So it's free money. Sometimes you just get money by opening treasure chests. The goody huts. We'll show you those later. So is our turnover? Press square, go to units. The units have moved already, so we're good. So we'll exit out of that and then the turn. Okay, again, when I play the PC version, I can go into more detail about some of this stuff because I'm a massive fan of it, and I kind of want to. It's easier to explain things in the PC version because there is more information provided to you in the PC version. Here, you have to dig deep to find some of the information you need, which I think is called surfacing, or at least information that's available to you right on your main screen, I guess is called surfacing. Having to dig deep into a menu to find the same information is kind of annoying, but it's a compromise you had to make on a console with far less memory and much lower screen resolution. Remember, this game is what, 320p probably? Well, 240p, like standard definition. You have way more resolution on the PC version. You can fit more information on screen, tinier text that presumably could be made larger, but it's easier to contain large amounts of information on a computer screen back then. They had higher resolution displays, but we'll talk about that later. So what do we want? I guess I could just explain this. The game that I purchased includes a civilization chart that shows all of the advancements we can make. There's also an in-game Civilopedia, which allows you to read through all this information. I'll show you where that is later. Just off the top of my head, what do I want? I want the ability to sail, which means I want a trireme, which means I want map making. That's not available here. What else can we make? Pottery allows us to make a granary. Those cost money, but they're very useful. What else do we want? Masonry allows us to make pyramids. Honestly, I don't think I want any of this. I want a monarchy, but that's not going to be available until we get the code of laws. I don't know what I have to do to unlock the code of laws. So that's unfortunate. So we'll figure that out later. So what do we want first? Well, we're not going to worry too much about it. Let's go to masonry. They want us to build a we already have a palace because the first city you find automatically has its own palace. Square. So here's a palace right here. If you need to move your capital, you build a new palace. That's not really important to me. To my knowledge, you cannot switch tech. You cannot switch research. Like if you're learning something, you're not allowed to switch. You're not allowed to switch the technology you're learning. I know it sucks. Let's see what's up. So I'm currently researching masonry. How do I get code of laws? I need the alphabet, which I thought I had. Courthouse. That's fine. So I already have the alphabet. So I already have the code of laws. Okay. Wait, am I a monarch? Huh. But before I load my game save, I want to see what kind of. So I'm already a monarch. I guess I've already learned this. Huh. I had no idea. I guess is the game like just automatically make us a monarch? Because I am an empress. And I want to say there's less corruption under monarchy in this game. Monarchy and communism are overpowered in this game. Monarchy basically gives you it limits corruption. Communism allows you to pacify people with soldiers, but it limits unhappiness. Through autocracy, I suppose. I didn't know I already had monarchy, so I feel better, I guess. Let me check on something else. Attitude advisor. Guess we need an attitude adjuster. That becomes important later, because on harder difficulty levels, it's harder to make people happy. So you need soldiers and palaces and tax cuts to keep them happy, because it means they get more luxuries, and the luxuries make them happy. Bread and circuses. In the world, we can see our demographics if you want. We're first in everything except for military service, which makes sense. Do other societies exist? We'll find out later. Okay, this dude's got to turn left. So we can have him build things like irrigation. He's already built a road. They can build irrigation. Actually, the square does not have irrigation. Let's not irrigate this square. Oh, I should probably mention this. Triangle, triangle, square. Go to the city. If you go to the resource tile here, it explains that it will clarify that all of these spaces within 3 tiles of the city center can be exploited for now. Yeah, that can expand later. I think once your city reaches level 9, it can expand, and that means you can have 4 tiles instead of 3 out a 4 tile radius instead of a 3 tile radius. What matters is we have. Well, you can barely see that. There's a whale right here you probably can't see, but I'll make that clear later. So we have some tiles right here with shields we want to exploit. So we can irrigate them, build roads on them. That's fine. So we'll irrigate 1 tile so we can grow more quickly. And then we'll start building roads that connect all those tiles. Basic stuff. Okay, so what's next? Units. So we can irrigate this tile right away. Let's get them over there, and we can irrigate that one right away. And the turn. Square. So we can irrigate this tile, then we'll build a road. So that we can get to that irrigated tile more quickly if we have to. It takes a couple of turns to irrigate. I can pull out the manual, we'll see how long it takes. Give me a second. Actually, I can just go to the Civilopedia, see if it shows up here. So I built my first unit. You can explore, expand, attack, and defend your civilization. There's no one's gonna attack us here. Remember, we're on a peninsula that can only be reached by crossing the South Pole or by boat, which no one has yet. We're also playing on the Prince difficulty level, so okay, this sounds dumb. We don't need to defend our cities. So we don't need a bunch of soldiers. We need soldiers to scout. We don't need soldiers to defend. First thing I do when I build a new unit, press triangle, square, go to the city, change the production order. We don't need any more soldiers here. We might need them eventually, but just not now. So what should we build? We can build a phalanx. I would argue we could probably build another warrior so we can explore more quickly, and then we can start building ships. Temples are for happiness. This is for like a boost to trade, I want to say, but I don't think we need to worry about that just yet. So we can build another we can build another warrior. Eventually, we're going to start building settlers, and I'll show you why that. I'll show you how that becomes important later. Resource, yeah, we're fine. So again, we're going to skip ahead to a later game save once I establish the basics here. Square, units. So you have a warrior. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to send them out. There is a goody hut in this direction, so I'll show you the goody hut. Now there might be a go-to option I can use. So I discovered masonry. So that means I can do construction once I learn currency. The explanation, okay, I didn't read the explanation. That's okay. The explanation does not show what the buffs are. Like it doesn't say, oh you can use a trireme now. It doesn't explain that here. I think you have to go to the Civilopedia to understand that. Now we're gonna do map making because, like I said, map making allows us to sail more quickly. So we'll do that. Okay, so let me check a couple of things. No. Triangle, triangle, square. Can I do a go-to option? No. Square. Can I do go-to? So you can't do a go-to. There is no pathfinding here, apparently. You can't say go to a square. So let me check on something. Square, game, options. There's a cursor movement. If I turn that off, what does that do? Yeah, it doesn't seem to do anything. Triangle, triangle, square. I can check out the manual to see what that does. Hold on, did I miss that? Yeah, I forgot to turn it on. So now it's on. Which I think allows me to do this. So let me do a quick check on that. Triangle, triangle, square. Game, options, cursor movement off means what? I can still move it. So I don't know what difference that makes. I can look it up in the manual, I suppose. Square, so L1 or R1, whatever. There's your first goody hut. And let me see what the options are here. I don't know if the options are explained. There it is, menu options. Nope. No. It doesn't explain that. We're currently under despotism, by the way. Usually a revolution brings on a short period of anarchy. That's hilarious. Yeah, it doesn't explain what cursor movement means. Yeah, it does not explain what cursor movement means. I'm gonna have to dig a bit deeper. We'll see how it goes. So when you find these goody huts, there's a chance you might find soldiers, you might find cash, or gold specifically. Or you might find a new technology, which means you don't have to research it. Or you might just discover a new city, which is what I'm going to show once I load the next game save. Settler units can also found new cities. Fortify units defend them against phalanxes. Settlers units, fast moving units like we're useful for exploring. Attack rams, so archers, chariots, elephants. Well, archers are good for defending, which is what we have here. Triangle, triangle, square, units. It does not show, and by the way, the soldier we just discovered inside of this goody hut is automatically supported by the nearest city. I want to say in the PC version it was under none. But this is interesting. So the way it works is that when you first start out the game, the settlers are free. But here, the settlers are here. All the units you uncover after building your first city all those units are supported by the nearest city as soon as you uncover them. Which means you're going to have to do some resource management later in the game where you start reassigning soldiers to different cities based on how many production shields they have. Because you don't want a city to support a unit that it doesn't have the resources to support. So you have to manage your units by having them be supported by a city that is large enough and productive enough to support them. That's basically how that works. So there's another goody hut up here, but let's just clarify something here. Yeah. So this irrigation tile is done. So I'll press triangle, triangle, square, city. We'll go to capital. So I don't know if you can see it now, but yeah. So this tile here is now irrigated. So let's see what we can do. So this gives us 412 on that tile, because this tile only gives us you can barely see it. The tile gives us 2 wheat. See that? It gives us 2 wheat and 1 shield. But this tile gives us 2 wheat, 2 trade, and 2 shield, because there is a whale on it. So I'll show you that in a second. Again, the resolution makes some of this crap hard to see. That is a whale. Just so you know. Can you zoom out? So I can press L2 and R2 to switch to a town, I guess. Is that what that means? Let me see what that Let me see what the manual says. L2, shift to view pieces. Mode and highlight city square on left. Mode and highlight city square on right. So L1 and R1 are for shuffling between units. L2 and R2 for shuffling between cities, I suppose. Okay. So I go over here with the circle button. This is a whale. So a whale gives you 2 food, 2 shield, and 3 trade. So again, you want a city near resources like this, because they give you buffs. A regular ocean tile only gives you what? Gives you 1 food and 2 trade, and that's it. So ideally, if you're going to be near a city, if you're going to be near the coast, you're going to want a coastal tile. You want a coastal tile with a whale that's near your city. Or fish. I want to say fish give you more food, whales give you more productivity, as you saw. So here's what I'll do. We're gonna load a new game save, but I want to test something. Advisors, no. Kingdom, we're gonna do a revolution. We're gonna overthrow the despotism. We're gonna overthrow the despot. So we're not gonna be able to make much progress for very long, but it's early in the game. I just want to know if I'm a monarch yet. So we're gonna lay down some more tiles here. I think we'll just go. Oh, that's right. We want to go this way. There are several cities on the other side of the South Pole, so we'll follow the ice. We'll follow the glaciers along the bottom of the map. They'll be cute. Okay, so now we can be a monarch. Okay. So what does a monarch do? Monarchies allow for higher rates of taxation, and in the original PC game, they allowed for Harriet Tubman is the new Queen of America. We stand a queen. So again, why would I do that? If you go to Civilopedia, there are government types. Form of government you choose for your civilization will affect the way resources are distributed, the rate at which your citizens can produce and sustain new units, and city improvements, and the extent to which your citizens will have a say in the way you govern. That's less important. Some forms of government, such as despotism, monarchy, and later communism and fundamentalism, allow you to expand rapidly, to produce and sustain large numbers of units, and to control your affairs completely. We're not going to be a democracy or republic just yet. And you're wealthier, though. So again, you start out as a monarch. I had no idea. So despotism, which is what I was. Each unit above the city size costs 1 shield per turn. That's kind of expensive. Settlers eat 1 food per turn. Happiness, up to 3 military units in each city can enforce martial law, converting an unhappy citizen to a content citizen. So that's how you control happiness under despotism, which is what we were. Corruption has a high rate of corruption and waste. The greater a city's distance from the capital, the higher the level of corruption. That's why you want to switch to a monarchy when you can. Under despotism, the highest rate for science, tax, or luxury is 60. Also, any square which would ordinarily produce 3 or more resource produces 1 less. So, yeah, you get more productivity, you get more food, you get more shields, you get more trade out of a tile if you're not under a if you're not a despotism, if you're not a despot. Try to switch to a monarchy as soon as possible, which is what I just did. Each unit beyond the third costs 1 shield per turn. Okay. So it doesn't matter how big your city is. Well, under despotism, every unit beyond the size of your city. If your city is size 2, you can support 2 units. If your city is size 3, you can support 3 units. Apparently. Settlers eat 1 food per turn. Up to 3 military units in each city will institute martial law to deal with unhappiness. A moderate rate of corruption and waste under monarchy. Under a monarchy, none of the rates are going to be higher than 7. For a young civilization, your rule is not absolute. Aristocratic class have a certain amount of economic freedom, but that's a greater production over okay, whatever. So we're going to move out. So I'm going to load the new game save. So we'll play the game normally now. So before I end the video, I'll show you the city I'll show you the civilization I've built. So that's my ground zero save. That is my optimal advancement. So I've advanced maybe 10 or 11 turns, I don't know. So this game save will have 2 cities, New York and Washington. So this is going to be our real game save. So here's what I can do. Triangle, triangle, square. We can set up some, what do we want? Let's see what we're actually building. We're building warriors in New Washington, the Washington Warriors. We're building a granary in New York. It's probably a bad idea. Let me check on that. Okay, we just started building it. Okay, so we can change that. So granaries cost money, so I'm not going to do that right away. But another warrior will be useful because they can be used for exploring. And we will want to explore, and then we're going to want some triremes, so we'll get to that. We don't need to defend ourselves. We just need the ability to wander around the map. Guess we got some gold. I'll show you how I'm getting gold in a second. So we have warriors. So I guess we can save that. Square, game, save. So we're overwriting the save data. So again, you can only save on one. You can only fit 1 game save on a PlayStation 1 memory card. It's wild. So again, if you're a kid, you know, how many, if you really like your civilization, how many memory cards are you juggling, dog? I don't know, man. So I prefer the modern era. That's just me. I dig it. So we can switch governments if we have to, and we'll get to that in a second. One moment. Okay. So we're back to Civilization 2 on the PlayStation 1. So I said I was gonna establish a new government, so we might as well do that. So what are our cities building? Yeah, we're building warriors so we can explore. Because if we follow the glacier on the southern part of the map right there, southeast of New York, there is a glacier. We can follow that glacier to reach the other 2 continents. So we'll get to that. We don't need to explore anymore. We don't need to like build any more cities. So the fact that we found a free one is very good for us. Let's see. So we want world. No. Game. No. Kingdom revolution. We're going to overthrow the American despot. We're going to overthrow the American despot, y'all. Give us free. We demand a new government. All right, so how are we doing this? Okay, go back to the city. So I can press L2 and R2 to switch between the cities. Press X to jump inside. Let's see. Resource. Well, we're under a revolution, so we said we wanted a revolution. So We're gonna take care of that. I should probably rename the city too, since we're gonna have a new leader. We can call it Tubman, but that seems to be inappropriate. So we'll call it. Yeah, we'll rename the city from Washington to Tubman. I know what we'll do is we'll call it Cap, so it's easy for me to find on a map. It's a pattern I used from back in the day because I would have civilizations with like 20, 30 cities in it. And I needed to be able to know, okay, where's this city? What other city is it close to? Like that kind of thing. So I would name cities accordingly, so it was easier for me to find them in a pinch. So my cities would have really stupid names like Cap or C West or C North or whatever. So that I knew if this city was adjacent to the capital city and in which direction it was from the capital, that kind of nonsense. Of course, you could also name cities based on what purpose they serve. Like, for instance, my capital city is an isthmus, so I can rename it accordingly. We'll do that later. So instead of calling it Cap, we can call it Cap Panama because it's basically Panama City. Let's see. Once we build ships, that nomenclature will make sense. But yeah, let me take a look at the resources here. We should be fine. Yeah, so we have one person who's working the whaling, who's basically a whaler. And then when our city grows, we'll be able to occupy that irrigated grassland shield to make productive farmland for this city. So let's focus on getting to the next one. There's already a road here, so we can't build another one. So let's focus on building our interstate highway. We're going to connect New York with our capital city. There. So we'll end the turn. So we can build the road tile here. We'll irrigate later. Okay, this one's done. L2 and R2, press X inside the city. So we're not changing. Okay, so we found, okay, this city has a warrior. We just found it. Okay, never mind. Units. Okay, so this particular warrior was from our capital city. So we can keep building warriors. We're not worried about that. We can't switch cities from this screen, which I guess is fine. Can't buy the warrior. You can speed up production if you empty your treasury, but we're not going to worry about that. Not for these videos. Maybe in the future, but not now. So L1 and R1. We'll send this dude up here because there's a goody hut up here. End the turn. So we want a monarchy. So we're Queen Tubman. Discoveries are 6 turns instead of 9. That sounds amazing. We make one extra pip of gold per turn. So let's get rid of that. So we make two gold per turn instead of 3. So that's a fair trade, honestly. Also make discoveries in 5 turns instead of 6, but that's not gonna make a huge difference. Luxury is for keeping your people happy. We're not gonna worry about that for now. That's right. Problem solved. So we can create a third game save if we need to. All right, so how do we want to do this? So I'm glad I found a new city. That saves me a bunch of trouble. Because at this point in the game, settlers are expensive. So finding new cities, I would argue, is more important than finding new technologies. But the obvious problem with that is that at some point, cities are too far away from your capital, and they basically become unsustainable because they're just too corrupt. So there is one downside to that. We could build another city over there to the northeast. We're not going to focus on that now. First things first. Let's go here, and we're going to rename New York. It's another port city, so we don't have to worry about that. So delete all that. So it's west of our capital, so we'll call this city, we can call it Cumberland. The point is that it's west of our capital. So we're going to call it C West. Quest, I guess. named after Johnny Quest. But the point is that this city is near our capital. It is west of our capital. We can call it Cumberland if I wanted to. In fact, I could probably call it Cumberland if I really wanted to, but we'll do that later. I'm naming cities so that I can find them if there's a long list of city names eventually. We can rename these cities at any time, so I'm not worried about that. Let's see. So what's this city building? Okay, so the soldier's done. It's supporting 2 units. So we're going to stop building these guys. Resource. No, we're going to build. We should build it. They want me to build a temple, but I'm not. I can build a granary. Granaries cost money, so they're going to need money more quickly if we build this. We can support another warrior if we need to, but it's just not really in the mood. But building a phalanx isn't bad because it can be used for pacifying civilians later, so that's not terrible, honestly. Having warriors is usually good because it means you can use them for martial law, even if they aren't strong soldiers. So I can change this soldier right here. There's a goody hut to the northwest, to the northeast of us. We'll get to that in a second. This dude, yeah, we can reassign him to C West because no C West is not supporting any units, is it? No, so we can have a soldier go over there, so we can evenly distribute our soldiers. So we'll send them over there for funsies, and then we'll send them out to investigate the ice flows. Actually, let me fix that. I should have. Okay, so we'll have him investigate the ice flows then. So we'll end the turn. So we'll have him go back to this. Can I set his home city? No. Yeah, I can't do that here. So we'll have to go back to the city and reassign him that way. I guess we're gonna keep building this road until we get to C West. We'll head down here. Slightly inefficient, but we'll make it work. There is another continent over here. So we're gonna explore there. He won't freeze, don't worry. Press square. We're gonna build the road. We'll send this dude to C West. Units. Doesn't say, yeah. In the PC game, it showed you the coordinates on the map where they were located. You can't see that here. So what I'll do is I'll select the city, go to units, units present. Then we can support from this city. So now each city is supporting 1 soldier, and that's more efficient for my purposes. Again, the advanced resource management stuff I've learned over the years. You would never worry about this in a first if you were a newbie to this game. But it's a good practice to learn. Evenly distribute. How your units are supported. Okay, we're good. Yeah, we're good. So end the turn. No other units could be selected. Okay, so we got a new unit here. So let's go in here. Let's make sure we switch. Change. They want me to build settlers. We can actually build settlers now. I'm not opposed to a granary at this point. Again, it's not free. We're making enough money that won't be a serious problem. Units. Yes, that's enough units for now. They can explore. Yes, so you can actually, if we build a new city out there, we'll get around to it. So we'll see what to do with them later. Units, square, units. Yes, this guy's supported. So we have. Oh, this is a new guy. Okay. So we have enough soldiers now. So everyone's supporting 2 units now. Okay, so we're good. Change. So we can build a granary, honestly. What's a courthouse is for? That's for cutting down on corruption, which won't be a problem here. It'll be a problem later. It'll be a problem once we start building cities further away from the capital. Yes. Uh, We're not going to build a settler here. We'll have them build a granary. Settlers are going to be needed because once your city is large enough, if you build a settler, one of your two, like for instance, if we have our capital city build a settler, one of these two people is going to leave and become a settler. So you only want to build settlers once your city is large enough. Otherwise, if you build for instance, if New York, if C West here builds a city, if C West here builds a settler, the city will disband. Because the one person in the city is basically going to become a settler. So you don't want to do it that way. That would be absurd. Now we're not going to do it that way, but you know. But what's Cap building? Okay, we're building a granary. Are we building a granary? Yeah, we're building a granary. It'll be useful later. Like I said, it costs money, but we'll be able to earn more money later. That won't be a problem. So we have a soldier over here, and a soldier will go down here to investigate the ice caps. Everything else, yeah, we can send these guys out to explore. We'll keep this guy nearby in case we need to like build a new city out here. So we'll see what's up. But eventually they will go out exploring. No pathfinding in this game, so you're gonna have to apparently move your characters square by square, which is fine if I'm being honest. Yeah, we already know where he's going. He's supposed to go down here. So he's exploring the glaciers, the continent about, you know, 200 about 2 centuries away. So he'll find it eventually. He'll be like the Inuit exploring Siberia and eventually getting to Alaska. We discovered map making, so that means we can build a trireme, which is a ship that again we can use to we can actually put soldiers on the ships. So that's probably one thing I can use the warrior for. So they can do more exploring more quickly. Let's see, currency. What do we want? What do we even want? Writing sounds like a good idea, but we already have monarchy, so I'm not complaining. So what do we really want? Let me look at the map. Again, I can't switch, so that's the thing. Let's see, currency, bridge building, banking. I mean, I already have a granary. Like, what do I need masonry for? So I can build an aqueduct, but an aqueduct isn't going to be needed for like centuries. We want a trade caravan, so we're going to need currency. So let's get some currency. We need the code of laws, which we have, so we're going to need currencies. That will allow us to build trade, and trade will allow us to make cash. So that's going to be worth it. So trade's going to be definitely needed. And once we start building wonders, then trade becomes way more useful. Because then we can start like that'd be the thing. You build trade caravans to build up reserves of productivity shields because every caravan can be used to build a wonder of the world more quickly. So they're basically like batteries for shields. They're batteries for productivity. So if you want to build something quickly, you don't have to. If you want to build a wonder more quickly, you don't have to pay for it. You just use caravans to deposit their 50 shields into your production. It's amazing. I'll show you more of that trick later. Because it's hard to explain without actually showing you how it works. Or at least it's hard to explain why it matters until you actually start building wonders of the world, which we're not building now. But ideally, you can always build caravans because they're free. It doesn't cost money to support a caravan. As long as you have as long as you have a resource to be trade. I think every city can support 3 trade routes, which means you can potentially build 3 caravans to build wonders more quickly. This guy can go on a ship. Hold on, let me check on something. We should be able to switch now. We're building a granary. We can build a trireme eventually. But it'll cost us money if we build it now. Give me a second. Here's what we do. Okay, here's the thing. If we build a trireme now, watch what happens. If we change production between items of different general types, there is a 50% production penalty. So right now, continue producing granary. Right now we're building a building, and there are 4 shields committed to it. You know, whatever, it's nothing. But that's like 2 turns, right? Yes, 2 turns worth of productivity. So we would lose 1 turn of productivity if you switch now. The way it works, we're building a granary. That is a building. So if you switch between a granary and another building, no penalty. If you switch between a granary and a wonder of the world, you incur the shield penalty. If you switch to a unit like a trireme, you incur the penalty. So we're going to lose 2 of our shields. See? So we had 4, now we have 2. But that's okay, because there's nothing wrong with switching to a new unit type if you've only committed like 2 or 3 turns worth of productivity to it. In other words, we lost 1 turn by switching to this unit type, but I'm fine with that. Over here in our capital city, you have a similar problem. We've already committed 8 shields to this. That is 2 turns worth of productivity. So we can switch, which isn't a terrible idea, honestly. So we'll lose 2 turns worth of productivity, but that's okay. Because we want to trireme so we can explore more quickly, then we can focus on the granaries. Get some carrots in the microwave, I gotta pull out later. But the trireme won't be ready for a while, so we can just set up shop here. Well, we can just explore the map a little bit, but we don't. What we need isn't here. We're gonna want a trireme eventually, so we'll bring the trireme around once we get to where we're going. Because we can board the trireme without being in a city. At least in the PC version, you could. So now I'm curious. Yep, there's a goody hut over there. So we'll just get to the edge of this continent and then let the trireme pick us up. So don't worry, young wanderer. Eventually, your time will come. Yeah, in about 2 centuries, there'll be a ship waiting for you. So just go wander the desert for a while. We found some skilled mercenaries. So we found a horseman. That's actually better. That's actually better than a warrior. Okay, so we can actually do better exploring with this guy. Is that mentioned here? Units. Yeah, horsemen move 2 squares per turn. Or if they're in a mountain or a forest, they're limited to 1 move. Because forests, just so you know, I think forests and mountains and hills have a higher movement penalty, but they move twice as fast on flat land as a warrior does. I don't think are there any rivers? I've not seen a river in this game yet. Because in the PC version, if there were river tiles, you could travel on the river tiles, and the rivers functioned as roads. Because this road cuts your movement penalty by 1/3. So if you have a road, it only costs you 1/3 of a turn to move along a road tile. The problem, of course, being it takes a while to build roads in places like forests. But eventually, if you build roads through forests, it reduces the movement penalty through the forest. Because you move half as fast through a forest as you do through a grassland tile, if that just makes that clear. Movement points, not listed, is it? No, it's not listed here. So I have to go to the chart. I'm surprised that's not explained here. Let me see if that's explained. It is not. Too bad, really. So let's see, tile movement costs. Yeah, desert and grassland have a movement cost of 1. Forest, glaciers, hills, and jungles have movement costs of 2. So that's the trick. And of course, that's explained here in the chart. I'm familiar with the game, although I can probably go to the Civilopedia, see if that's explained. Terrain types. Plains. I don't think it's here. Result. This, yeah, movement cost. There we go. So you can see the movement cost here. The effective roads on plains tiles, 1/3 of a point, and you get extra trade. So that's good. It's like 5 lines from the bottom. And this is the explanation. Okay, we don't need that. So in the grasslands, we have these. Movement cost of 1. Effective roads, you get extra trade, and you get and it only costs 1/3 of a movement point. Results of irrigation, you get an extra pip of food. Possible resources, shield. Let me see where the shield is explained. Yeah, that's grass shield. There we go. So these are the shields where you actually get more productivity out of them. But it doesn't explain. Doesn't explain the movement cost. But it's supposed to explain that you get the extra productivity out of it, right? Yeah. So it doesn't explain the movement cost, but it does explain the terrain type. Okay. Cute. So how we doing? Let's see. So we have more pieces. Okay, so the road between the two cities is complete. So now we can start actually irrigating crap. If you want to irrigate you can't see it. There's a tile to the northwest of me. If you want to irrigate it, you must irrigate the adjacent tile. You can't irrigate a city square, by the way. So I'm gonna have to irrigate this tile if I want to irrigate the shield tile next to it. Okay, let's have the horsemen do the exploring down south. So I'll have the horsemen explore that continent. And then we'll meet up with the trireme once it gets there. We could also split up. I mean, there's nothing wrong with splitting up. So we did our job. So I guess we can let a couple of these soldiers chill. Yeah, so here's your horsemen. So we'll get to our destination way more quickly. So there's nothing else out here to mind. I mean, there's another island that we can't see here. There's another continent we can't see. We'll make it work. Yeah, we can't see the continent from here. But once we get the trireme, we'll be able to see it. I think that might be a mountain tile with some resources on it. So we'll get to that in a moment. So is it only 1 movement cost? Let me check on that. Let me check on that. What's the movement cost of this thing? Because once we get to the continent, we can move more quickly. Movement cost 1. Okay, that's fine. And these are glaciers? Yeah, these are movement costs of 2. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so it doesn't matter if we choose the horse or the warrior. But once we get to the continent, then we can start making a lot more progress once we get to like the land, once we get to actual land. So we'll have them explore the continent, and then we'll send the trireme out after them. Yeah. So okay. So the gray glacier tiles are more expensive to move on. That makes sense, actually. That's actually not a mountain. That's actually a fish, I think. Okay, I think we're getting close to the continent. Let me check on something. That's a whale, I think. That is a whale. So if you want to build a city, you can build one out here. Another harbor town wouldn't be a terrible idea. One, two, three. Can that reach here? 2. Yeah, we can't build a city here and get the whale, but we can build like 2 more cities on this island, on this peninsula, certainly. That won't be a problem. Nothing else out here to my knowledge. Maybe just some desert. Still building triremes, apparently. Okay, so now we can irrigate this tile. Okay, we got a new, oh, he's already here. Yeah, he's already here. The other city's building a trireme. Yes, he's already here, so that's fine. So he can just set up shop here if he needs to. Okay, we got another continent over there. So I can see it. I just have to be able to cross the water to get to it. So we did. We found Alaska. Or I guess we found Tierra del Fuego, for being honest. We discovered currency. Straight cash, homie. So it allows research into trade, which means we can have some caravans, which will be very useful. Gold and silver are widely used in such transactions and so forth. We get rid of the penny or not? Seafaring or trade? Trade sounds like an amazing idea. The game doesn't explain what seafaring is, so we'll look at the just a second. Square. Supposed to be under tech. Civilization advances. There we go. What's it called? Not trade. Seafaring. Can't go backwards. So we'll just go through this way. Again, cumbersome, but they're making it work on a PS1. Just saying. I think they had I think the PS1 had like a Nat Yarose development kit or something that people were using to make these games. Let's see, seafaring. Okay, so it doesn't explain what it actually does. Yeah, you can get a harbor, which allows you to farm more food from ocean tiles. But in the PC version, I want to say it reduced the likelihood that your ships would be lost at sea, but that's not explained here. It might not be a thing in this version. Again, I don't know how much this game got gimped. Yeah, here. Yeah, so we can just hang out here, see if there's any more tiles we can uncover. Okay, so we have irrigation we can build here, then we can build another road, and we'll be good. Let me check on something. What is Sea West gathering? What are their resources? Okay, so they're gathering from these grassland shield tiles. But again, once it's irrigated, they'll be able to get a bit more food out of it. One hopes. Let me check on something. Remember, we don't even have a granary yet. So if there were a way for me to switch, in the PC version, you can switch cities, but you can't switch cities from this screen. So you got to do it the more cumbersome way. So again, you're playing Civilization 2 on a PlayStation 1. So consider what you're getting and accept the compromises. Yeah, see this irrigated tile right here? It's worth 3. 3 food. Yep, 3 food, 1 trade, and 1 shield. So it's a 3-1-1. 3 food, 1 shield, 1 trade, which you can barely see. But the road tiles provide that extra trade. So it's just more cash for us. Is that listed there? You have a surplus of 4 food, which means we can support at least 2 more people. At the bottom of the screen is a surplus of 5 somehow. Oh, sorry, because we're not supporting anyone. We're not supporting any soldiers yet, so that's good. We're not support. In other words, it doesn't cost money to support soldiers right now. It does not cost shields to support. So we're getting So if you see on the 6 pips of trade in the middle near the bottom where it says 6, trade productivity is 6. 6 pips of trade. Split 40-60. Collect 2 gold in taxes. Collect 4 science beakers towards research. That's the breakdown. We'll go into more detail about that later. Once we start micromanaging, which we're not doing right now. Got another glacier yet. So again, the continent's not that close, but we'll get there. And once we get to the continent, we'll start splitting up. Okay, we got a new unit, so we can change it up. Change. Yeah, marketplace. We can do that. It's fine. So what's the? I don't know what the marketplace gives us. So we can build a granary now if we want. It's not terrible. And then we can start building. Once we learn trade, we can start building caravans, which should be listed here. So square or triangle, triangle, square, or L2 and R2 to get this cursor to show up. So if you press L2 or R2, you switch to the cursor, which shuttles between the two cities. Press square. Let's see, kingdom. Nope, not gonna mix. Actually, let's look at the tax rate. 3.9. No. 9 turns or 11. Well, let's see how close we are to learning. 3.9 is fine. How close are we to learning something new? Advisors. Science advisor. So we're not close. Again, the problem is I don't know how off. It doesn't say how many turns we are, how many turns away we are from learning something new. Because I don't know how many beakers we need to actually learn something new. So that's not helpful. Advisors, we can go to trade, see how much money we're getting. Total cost 0, total income 3, total science 5. That's fine. We're not getting much science, as you can see, because we don't have enough trade. Units, not units. Advisor, science advisor. So we have like 5 beakers, which makes sense because our civilization only generates 5 beakers of science, as I recall. Trade advisor says we're generating 5 beakers of science because that's how much trade we're generating. These are small cities. So it'll take us 9 turns to learn something. I understand. So it's gonna take us 8 more turns to learn. It'll take us 8 more turns before we can start building caravans, and that's fine. Let me double check one other thing. Units. Units supported. But are they free? Yeah, these guys are free. Resource. Yeah, no units are being supported, so that's fine. So we have the 3 free units because we're a monarchy. We can't support any, so we can support a trireme. But we're gonna need a new city eventually because the trireme is going to cost us. So that's the thing. I mean, you could disband it, but the idea is to find another city so we can assign it to that place. So found a new continent. So let's see what's up over there. Okay. So again, here's your trick. Were we building another trireme? Let me check. No, we're building a granary, right? We're building a granary. Okay. So if I save the game here, we're going to do a thing. I already did a game save earlier, so here's what we're going to do. So we have these 2 game saves, but here's the trick. So we're going to back out. We're going to cancel something. Let me do something a bit more. Let me do something a bit safer. So we're going to assign the 3rd game save to the 2nd slot. And the 1st game save to the 1st slot. So you're going to see 2 duplicates. Square, game, save. So you see we have the 2 saves here. So the bottom one will be the one we use because that's the one with the C save. So again, now we have 3 virtual memory cards with 3 different game saves. Eventually, these saves will probably be completely unmanageable, but we'll get to that when the time comes. So before I end the video, I want to show you the trick. So we have our trireme, which can travel to either coast. So for instance, we can go here, pass through the city for free. So that's the way you want to do that. But I'll probably end up loading this game save. That was a waste of a turn. But I wanted to show you how the city functions as a canal, like Istanbul, Constantinople, Panama City. Unit supported, so we're fine. So we can load that game save. So the idea is I wanted to show you what the trireme can do. But we found that other continent. So that's going to be where we pick up the next video once I figure out. Because I know there's a goody hut over there. We'll show you what's going on with that. We've established the basics, and that's what counts. So it's cool to be able to have this, the ability to play this particular version of Civilization. So once I get to a good chunk of footage, we'll see what's up. So we can send so we can send this trireme out to pick up that warrior, so we can do some more exploring. If we need to circle back around, we can. The trick is, do not end your turn on an ocean tile. You must be adjacent to the coast. Otherwise, there is a chance your ship will be lost at sea. Fair warning. Let's make sure we can actually load this trireme. And we're good. See? Good stuff. And there is a coast right there. So that's how you explore the coast, kids. So we're going to tease the next video with all this. So we got this ocean. And we found another goody hut. So that's why you save your games. You can get better goodies. Oh, we found an advanced tribe. Even better. We found Boston. Happiness. Well, where's the corruption? There is corruption already in this. As you would expect, there's corruption in Boston because we're too far away. But we got a free city, so I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take my oats. I will enjoy my good fortune. So we could get another trireme. We could probably build a courthouse, for being honest. The good news is we don't really need any more warriors because we already have a warrior. So a courthouse will reduce our corruption, and that's going to be good. Courthouses cost money. Now, does it say? Let me check out the chart. Let me check on something. Civilopedia, city improvements. There is a courthouse which costs 1 gold. Decreases corruption by 50%. Makes city more resistant to bribery under democracy or whatever. So that's the thing. Is that listed here? I want to say it's not. Looking at the chart here. City improvements are not listed here. Only terrain improvements, soldiers, tiles. Yeah. Mountains have a movement cost of 3, so swamps have a movement cost of 2. Yeah. So I'll keep my chart right here. Like I said, we'll end the video soon. Let's do a quick save. So that was definitely worth it. So we got a free city, kids. So again, you save your game before you go into a goody hut. Then you save scum to see if you get better goodies. Then you load if you don't like what you get, you load the previous game save. See if you get anything good. Yeah, it's almost dinner time, so I'll set that up too. Like breakfast. Who needs breakfast? Yeah, it's about dinner time. The sun's actually about to go down. It's 6 o'clock. I want to say we're about 4 weeks away from daylight savings time because it's Valentine's Day weekend, which is also President's Day weekend. But we are not off because we private sector. So we got the new city. So let me check on something. Going down to Boston. Oh, I want to have my peace of mind. So we'll rename Boston. What would you call this? It's too far away. It's east and it's on another continent. So we'll have to rename it accordingly. We can call it Easton, which I guess makes somewhat sense. Not Boston, but Easton. Like, why do we even have to pause the game, if I'm being honest? So we're in Easton now. We'll rename the other cities accordingly. Let's see. So we're building a courthouse. Again, what do you want? What else would you build other than a courthouse? We can also reassign the warrior. So give me a second. Units. Okay, so we can rename this warrior. Support from the city. Boom. Problem solved. So now so now Cap is free to make more triremes. So that works out. Resource. Do we have something here? 212. I think that might be that might be 212. Might be a whale. Would not be shocked if it was a whale. Let's check. What's the circle button? It's a whale. Okay, so this whole thing worked out in the end. So this soldier is now ours, and it can continue its exploration. We should be fine. So we'll save the game here. Again, just to document what we got here. And I keep saying after I also need to reinstall Windows 10 on my gamer. Yeah, my gamer PC hit the fritz. But I got some really cheap memory I gotta get for it. I can put 16 gigs of RAM, DDR. I can put 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM in there because it only has 12, and it's like $20 now. They got a new shipment in from Patriot Memory, I guess. I guess how we doing? Discoveries in 4 turns. So that's good. So again, it will cost money to maintain this courthouse, but that's the cost of civilization. That's the cost of having a massive. What is this? Well, that's where the cursor is. Okay. So I can't see the cities though. Is this the continent? Oh. Okay. Too bad I can barely even see this crap. Press the triangle button, then you can go over here. So I guess this is the cursor movement they were talking about. Well, it's not terrible. It's just you can't really see. Yeah, that's this tile, this color tile right here. That's a city tile right here, and that's a city tile right here too. You can barely see that. So we found a new continent. That ain't the problem. It moves. The cursor moves quickly, so that's good. It's like missile command. But yeah, that's probably the quickest way to get around the map once it gets too big. So we can unload the civilian once we get to our destination because we have a soldier on board. I guess the trireme can do the rest. Square. Yeah, we can unload later. You might have to unload before I finish my turn though, because I don't know if I can unload. I'll try it. I'll try it because I don't have to unload them yet. So how far is the trireme from here? Because we can dump the soldier and then just yeah, we can dump the soldier and then send the trireme out after those other 2 guys to get them to that continent more quickly. Okay, we'll make it work. So let's just unload them here. Okay, so you can disembark that way. Okay, that's cool. Make landfall. And we can send them off. So we can send this dude off to capture the other glacier explorers. Got 100K. Sure he won't get horribly murdered. Okay, so this guy's ours. Yeah, this guy belongs to Easton now. East Side boys. Let's unfog the rest of this map. Then we can leave the city. Let's see. But again, remember, you want to end your turn next to a coastal tile. Okay, so that irrigation's done. So we can irrigate this tile now. Let me check on something. Is that a shield? Yeah, it's a shield, so we can irrigate that one. That's good. Remember, it doesn't cost you very much to get to the next tile here. That's okay, we're fine. Okay, so we got a new ship. So let's cancel that. Change. I thought we were building a granary. I guess we weren't done building the granary, so that was the problem. Let me double check, see what the marketplace gives us. So I want to say we get a bit more money if we have a marketplace. But I want to say marketplaces cost money. See improvements. We got a marketplace here. And it's not alphabetically sorted. It's based on when they're unlocked. So basically, more advanced improvements are further down the Civilopedia, which makes sense, I guess. More expensive, yeah. Increases tax and luxury output by 50%, but it costs gold. So at some point, once you start generating a whole bunch of trade, then yeah, sure. Then you start building marketplaces so that you can make more money from the trade you're already generating. So buy. We're not going to buy. Change. Again, we don't need another soldier. We can probably build another trireme, but let's build a granary instead. Because that'll help us grow more quickly, and that will support our civilization as we grow more quickly. And if your city gets too big, then you can start building settlers, which automatically shrink the city. So it becomes a virtuous cycle, one hopes. Because we have soldiers down here. So we'll send this dude. Let me check on something. Because there's that dude on the other continent. Where is he? Yeah, where's the dude in Easton? Send the other ship out to Easton. That sounds like a good idea. So we'll send out this trireme for the icebreakers. Like literally the icebreakers. We are the largest apparently because we have 3 cities basically. I think it's based on the number of cities you have. Yeah, this guy in Easton. So where's his ship? His ship might be coming in if we can send out a trireme to get him there more quickly. If we can send out another trireme over there, so that could serve the east side, I suppose. So we can get there more quickly if he just goes that way. Just hug the coast to unfog the map. Square, irrigation. So that'll take about 3 turns, I think. Let me check on something. That's probably not explained though. Yeah, I want to say irrigation is not explained. It's supposed to take at least 3 turns. It might be in the manual. How long does it take to irrigate? Let's see. Improve your production. Okay. Building irrigation and takes a bit longer, but it doesn't say how long. The point, I want to say irrigation takes at least 3 turns, if not 5. It's been a while since I played. Give me a second. Yeah, we'll stick to the coast. So let's unfog more of this map. Then we can move along. Because we want to be able to unfog all the ocean resources. We discovered trade. Perfect. So now we can get the caravans ready. What we really want is the caravans. They want seafaring. I can tolerate that. I don't know what does writing give us exactly. We have to make a choice. We don't have an option, which I think is hilarious. We'll catch up to you eventually, dog. Just saying. We're still headed to that continent. We'll find it eventually. Oh yeah, that's right. We have to build another caravan. So can we build a caravan here? Yeah, the granary can wait. Change. So caravans are cheap. Yeah, We're gonna lose 4 shields. That's nothing. So we'll switch to the caravan, and we'll set up a trade route with a nearby city, or we can set up a trade route with another city. That's fine, and we get money. We get extra money from that. We're not gonna change that. What about Boston? Not Boston, Easton. There it is, Easton. Yeah, we'll let them build the courthouse, then we'll start building the trade routes. Unfog that. That's good. So we need a ship to unfog the rest of the rest of Easton, unfortunately. We'll figure it out. We'll end the video pretty soon as well. Yeah, stay on the coast. Okay, we made it. So let's get on the ship. We can both fit on the ship. That's fantastic. Let me check on something. Square units. So it does, yes, sleep means they're on a ship or they're sleeping on a tile. But if they're sleeping, it means they're probably on a ship. So how's Easton doing? Resource. Yeah, we got to unfog a couple more. There's another whale to the west of us. So we unfogged that whale. That's good. So you have 2 whales we can use to expand our city. Fantastic. So that works out in our favor. So that's enough for now. We'll let the ship unfog the rest of this. We'll unfog this area east of the city. See what's up. Well, that was it. Okay, we'll come back. Okay, we'll have to reload that. We'll come back and play more of Civilization 2 later. So I recorded this on a Plantronics headset plugged into my quad core Celeron 1 gigahertz, 4 gigabytes of RAM, Windows 10 education laptop with the camera app, capturing this footage at 30 frames a second at 720p. The PlayStation 3 is a 60 gigabyte unit, I think. Oh, no PS2 emulation, only PS1 emulation. But I'm playing the PlayStation 1 disc on a PlayStation 3 that's outputting at 720p. Component, a component, RGB, I want to say, video output to my Game On Gamestop component to HDMI converter, which is outputting to my J5 Create 4K UHD capture device with the HDMI pass through. So I'm playing on my television while I'm capturing on the laptop right now. Which I don't really need to. I don't need to play on a TV. I mean, normally when I play games, I play on my TV for the lower input latency. But what I really want to do is play a game like this by plugging it directly into the laptop. Because input latency is not going to be a problem for a game like this, where it's like the input latency is like half a second every time you press a button. I mean, it's not that sluggish, but input latency is a non-issue for this game. So you can play this game you can play this game through a capture device, and input latency will never be a problem. Okay, so I didn't save after this, so we already know where we're going. We didn't find anything new. We already got the city here, so let me check on one thing to make sure we're up to date. Yeah. So we're building the courthouse. We have a unit that's supported here. That's why I saved it here. Okay. We can build a trireme and then switch to a caravan, actually. Yeah, we can do that. How many triremes do you need? As many as you want. I would argue. So we can switch to a caravan by the time this trireme is done. So let's unfog that. Yeah, we want to unfog the what you call it. Yeah, get in there. Yeah, we're gonna want to unfog that whale near Boston. Yep, we've had a goodie hut, so it all worked out. Okay, it's not a costume. It's actually an arrow. Very well done. Doesn't see how many moves I have left, which is kind of frustrating, but whatever. We'll make it work. So before I enter the goodie hut, let's make sure I unfog this part of the map. And then we'll save before we enter the goodie hut. You will save before we enter the goodie hut. Okay, we're safe. Okay. So where's our goodie hut? Let's just see what we get. Maybe we'll get a new city. You never know. That's why we're doing the game. What, did I save the right place? Yeah, we want to save here. I want to make sure I make the right game save. Which of course we're going to override it. We don't care. We're not scared. That's why you have to make multiple game saves in games like this, because maybe you lose your trireme because you're out exploring. Yeah, you can muck around. You can muck around like that in the original game on the PC. You can like explore out the open water, and if your ship gets lost at sea, you can just reload the game save. Save's coming. I don't think I want any more. Why? I'll take a horseman. I don't care. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I want to go there. Horsemen aren't bad. They let me explore more quickly. Oh yeah, what city supports it? Yeah, because again, that horseman might not be wanted. Yeah, that horseman might not be wanted because it might be too expensive for our civilization, so we might have to disband it. So you can disband a warrior, and then you can disband a warrior, I suppose. We unfogged the whale, so that's good. So we'll come back later. This is Civilization 2 on the PlayStation 1. The first video. Not a research stream, technically, but we're going in deep this time. Figure that might be fun.